showing the finished installation on the balcony with the staircases. So I'm gonna just show you how to do these. You can see on the assembly line videos about building these ladders. They're not completely perfect, but I think they've come up alright. The thing about hand making obviously is it never comes out exactly square. If you want things to be completely square, take a lot of time doing it. So there's stairs going down, in fact. So there you go, stairwell installed. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. So first of all, I've got 3 ladders here already made. And the ladders are going to run up here, down through here, and up past the top of the roof line. Each ladder is 120mm, which gives just enough clearance to make it look like you guys could realistically climb up them and climb out. First is gluing them down. Now, if you try making ladders by hand, you notice they're not perfectly square, which is unfortunate, but I think it's just life unless you're willing to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours doing this stuff, and I'm kind of budgeted for time. So then you've got to just pick a side where these are most flush to the leading edge, so I'm going to choose this side. Then pick an end. I'm going to pick the bottom because I'm going to do this bottom ladder first. And what I want to do when I fit it is I want to fit it close to the left hand side and close to the etched line that I've run down here. I'm going to hold on to this bottom bit, so then I'm going to apply glue to the entirety of the rest. It's just so that I'm minimising the amount of area that I'm missing with glue, because otherwise it'll stick to my fingers and then it'll all go horribly wrong. The other thing you'll realise at this point is, why didn't you just stick the verticals and then stick the steps in between? It's another way of doing it, but I've been finding that if I assemble the ladders like this, I can actually put the last bit together faster. If you wanted to get straighter, then it might be better to do it that way. I don't really know. Maybe I'll test that out at some point in the future. It's just that way, if you mess up putting down anything, if you're trying to put down the 2 verticals, or your steps aren't quite right, then it all goes horribly wrong. I'm just doing it this way, and my ladder is already right. Put it in, and I'm just going to hold it down, and you can hear it breaking. Doesn't matter, because it's going to be glued to the wall now. I have been questioning, like I say, whether or not it was would have been better off not. Also, I kind of had it in my head that maybe these are going to be slightly old and battered, so the lack of perfection is fine. I'll sort of paint them with stains down the walls from where they've been. You know, I think this is going to be the buildings for my Japanese sectorial army. And so they're meant to be in like the, you know, the maltreated masses of the Yujing, or Yuqing even. So then, having just pushed it down firm, it's that one fitted. So then, just with the next one, I'll fit it from the top down. So I'll just get these other 2 ladders fitted, and then I'll get back to you in a moment. Having installed the stairwell, you notice that I've left the top rung missing on this top ladder. Also, I've used the neatest ladder that I've got for the top one. It's like the rungs on this one are a bit like, they're not quite long enough actually, but, and I might just block that in by putting in teeny bits. So then what I have here is 2 additional step rungs for the ladder which will go on the inside edge of the wall, and then I've cut 2 35mm length pieces and I have beveled one corner. These will be the uprights for on the inside edge of the wall for where the handrail where you climb up over, and then each handrail, this little block, will go in between the tops of the 2 bits of handrail joining the top of the ladder together, and then it'll get sanded back. So just quickly before I start attaching everything together, just taking a sharp knife, and I'm just going to cut these. I should have cut these beforehand. Again, they don't have to be like completely perfectly accurate because I'm going to take sand and paper to them in a bit. But these edges just want to be beveled so that when it comes to sanding them you can put a curve on them. I think at some point as well I'll do a bit more of a comprehensive video on experimenting with different ways of making ladders, just to show you different ways of doing it. And these have come up alright, and to be honest with you, partly now I'm just leaving them because I'm on a time limit, but I think you can do them. I think you could do them more accurately another way. So when you're fitting these top rails, you just need to apply glue to the bottom half of them. Just try and get that in shot for you. Just to the bottom half and the bottom. And when you're fitting them, what you're trying to do, I'm just going to use my fingers to line these up. You just want these lined up with one another, and make sure that you push the bottom edge flush into the wall. I don't know if you can see this. But just so that this bottom edge, I'll just get the other one, I haven't put glue on this one, but you don't want this bottom edge sticking out, you want this bottom edge right flush into the wall. So for just again applying glue, bottom half, bottom tip, I do strongly advise, if you're doing anything like this, always sort of rinse and repeat the same job as such. And this is because if you do the same action over and over again, you will get better at it as you do it. So you may like bodge up a little bit, but by the time you've done 3 or 4 repeat tasks, you will stop making errors. So just okay. Now the next bit, because it's teeny weeny, I'm just using tweezers to hold this. I'm going to check that I've got it orientated correctly. So I'm going to just be, in fact that'll just wedge in place. Which makes life even easier. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to blob a bit of glue. Sometimes they don't fit in place right, in which case you have to put them into place and then pinch the material to hold it in place. However, this one was good enough to just go and sit. And get this as flush as possible, and then that just links everything together. And once you've done these 2 bits and you've linked them, you just need to give the glue a moment to dry properly. Again, 30 seconds to fix, but in all honesty about 5 minutes to set. So make sure you give your glue enough setting time. Rushing this kind of thing is what leads to making serious errors. So yeah, there's the basic fit, and I'll get back to you in a moment when the glue's dry and I'm ready to sand it back. So just let that glue set for a bit, and then I've cut teeny pieces of sandpaper, which are about to scale really with this, and I'm just trying to take all the corners off, smooth out this curve, and also smooth out how the piece, because what I want is this to look like a single piece, although I seem to have just broken the glue, which is really clever of me. So yeah, I'm just using really small fine pieces of sandpaper. This is just a fine grain. I also have a slightly bigger piece. Maybe I should have just used this in the first place. So I want to sand the sides, I want to sand the curve. Can't afford to be too rough with this, but you need to be rough enough to do the job. And hopefully you can see that clearly. I'm just bringing up as clean a curve as I can manage. Just want something which will disappear into the overall look of the building. Kind of goes back to the question of, does this bond well? It does bond well, but it's also a pain, because you know, everything's a pain really. So the other thing I'm just going to do is I'm just going to put in these rungs, and literally I'm just putting glue along either end, and the edge that I'm going to stick to the wall. It is quite important to do both ends and the wall. If you just do both ends, it will shear off quite easily. If you just do the wall, a bit of pressure in the wrong place, it will shear off quite easily. The only thing I am trying to do is get them aligned for this tweezers. Then the last step, or rung, that I'll be putting in is the rung which is the opposite to the top rung on the other side. Well, this makes it look like there's a step up, step across, and you've got a handrail to help you. I think it's these kind of little details. I mean, you could sit down, you see, and you could put all the bolts on either end of the rungs on the ladder, but this is meant to be a sci-fi setting, so I figured they would have gone beyond that, and these would be like one-piece castings or something, or 3D printed. Oh, and then this rung isn't quite long enough. Oh, not typical. Yeah, alright, so this rung I've cut is actually ever so slightly too short, which is a tad frustrating. Fortunately, I have spare material here. This is an ongoing thing, and this is why I keep on bringing up the notion of fitting rather than modelling or building. And it's because of this whole process of, cut this wide enough. Yes, maybe fractionally too wide. And it's this whole process of finding out where things are warped, where things aren't quite how they seem, or quite how you want them to be. So I've just wedged that in place, and this time I'm just going to spot glue. So literally I'm just spotting one edge, spotting the other edge. And that will actually be enough to hold that in place. Not ideal, it's a bit weak. I'm going to just spot in underneath as well. But I also find that when I get good placement, fat chance of me getting it again in 5 minutes time if I take that out and try to redo it. Just going to run a bit more glue onto this, and then I'll give this a final sand in a minute and bring everything. I do tend to find that if with this material, I wouldn't normally recommend this kind of thing, but with this particular material, if all else fails, chuck on some glue. Let the glue set. Just remove the excess with the tip of the nozzle. Let the glue set and then re-sand, and it seems to work quite well. So I'm essentially using super glue as filler, which is a bit of bad practice. But yeah, so that's how you fit it, and it should come up well, looking something like this. You'll need, like I say, a final sand, and then one other thing I'm going to do before painting, and I won't show it on camera, but I'm just going to sand this edge back so that it cuts a clean angle, and then that'll be the parking bay ready to be painted. I may also get a bit of sandpaper and glue it into that space so that it looks like a tarmac once it's painted. But again, I won't show that, I'll just cover that whilst I'm painting it. Okay, so cheers everybody, take care, enjoy your modelling and have a good one. Bye bye.